Hey, y'all, get your snackies. Get your snackies. We're beginning. I'll watch 10 minutes. If I'm not interested, we can dip. But get your snackies. All right, be prepared. I heard these videos are like really good.
All right. Did you say you did want water, didn't you?
It's okay.
Yeah, grab me some water.
Listen up, guys, because there's no subtitles.
That's my card. I know I introduced myself to you at your house, but my name is Lisa Reeves, okay? And I am a detective here at the Charlottesville Police Department.
Okay.
Everything going down in Charleston,
I want to talk to you. I want to make sure you do understand your rights, okay? And that way I can explain to you what's
A whole movie? You don't need to send me a whole movie. The fuck?
going on and all that good stuff. Do you understand? You understand that? Okay.
Can't watch a movie on
Today's date is May the 3rd, 2010. The current time is... All right, your first name is George.
Yes.
Georg.
Just small talk. W Riz. It's me. What do we pause for? Are you guys gonna kiss?
I didn't. There's no way I didn't do it. No way. Why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone came in this morning.
I never mentioned to you anything. Just told you we're investigating something. Wanted to know.
Oh, did you expose yourself? Oh, he threw.
Do you want me to call anybody for you, George?
It's an interesting concept to think of how you might respond to what would normally be an easy question, especially during a circumstance where it becomes a terrifying dilemma. We ask that you contemplate this question while you put yourself in George's position, but not before you grasp the context of what brought him to this moment. It begins with 22-year-old sports scholar Yeardley Love, a star lacrosse player at the University of Virginia. She is captured in this photograph playing in the second-to-last game of the season, clearly aware of the obstacles that lie in front of her, yet continuing to move forward, which is the circumstantial detail that turned this picture into a symbol for the globally recognized organization that would be founded in her memory. This would be the last photograph taken that day, capturing Yeardley's last embrace with her head coach Julie Myers. Both were unaware this exact moment would soon be on the national front pages. On May 3, 2010, at roughly 2:15 a.m., Yeardley's roommate returned from a night out to their off-campus apartment. Upon entering, she saw that Yeardley's bedroom had been broken into, at which point she rushed inside to find her unresponsive on the mattress. She had blood coming out of her nose and severe bruising across the right side of her face. But the most alarming thing was that she wasn't waking up. Her friend called 911, who instantly guided her through the steps of CPR, which was then taken over by paramedics who arrived on the scene 4 minutes later. But their attempts at revival were unsuccessful, and Yeardley was pronounced dead at exactly 2:47 a.m. At 2:53 that same morning, criminal investigator Lisa Reeves woke up to a phone call from the sheriff's office. By 2:59, she had arrived at Yeardley's apartment leading the investigation, and by 3:50, confirmed that she had her first person of interest, which was 22-year-old George Yeardley V, Yeardley's ex-boyfriend, and the next several hours were spent gathering information before she knocked at his front door. She found out that George was a fifth-generation heir to a very wealthy American family, whose roots lay in lumber dating back to the 1900s. He was educated at Landon Prep, a prestigious all-boys private school in Bethesda, Maryland, with annual tuition fees of up to $50,000. George was the star player of the lacrosse team and became an All-American athlete. This led to a full scholarship at the University of Virginia, where he remained a key player in the starting lineup, and where he would also meet, then spark a romance with fellow lacrosse player Yeardley Love. They dated for almost 2 years.
Yeardley and Love's relationship was an on-again, off-again one, where they cheated on each other throughout, and that tempers flared both ways.
What was going on with these two young people? What may have led someone to do what happened? These are just a completely unbelievable set of facts.
Everybody watched the relationship. People were really troubled by it. They were scared for her. Nobody knew what to do.
Yeardley ended the relationship in 2010, just 2 weeks before graduation. 9 days later, she was found dead in her bedroom. And that same morning, George Yeardley would hear a knock at his front door.
That's creepy.
He opened to Detective Lisa Reeves, who was dressed in civilian clothing. She introduced herself as a police officer, but mentioned nothing of the crime. She simply stated that she was conducting an investigation that could benefit from his presence at the sheriff's office. George's response was to lethargically put on his flip-flops, then walk over to the passenger side door of her unmarked police car and let himself in. Somewhat bewildered, Lisa got in and drove them to the police station a few minutes away without talking. It was around then when she noticed bruising on his knuckles and cuts on his forearm, at which point George was no longer a person of interest. He was the prime suspect.
Uh-oh. You're throwing. How are you gonna have everything going for you in life? You're a fifth generation fucking multi-millionaire family from lumber, from the fucking colonization days, and you're throwing. You're actually throwing.
Alright.
What are you doing? You have everything
You did
going
want
for
water,
you.
didn't you? I know I introduced myself to you at your house, but my name is Lisa Reeves. Today's date is May the 3rd, 2010. The current time is, I can't tell on that one, 7:52.
My
Okay?
drama papers too.
What's that?
My drama papers still right now.
Alright, your first name is
Okay, I think
George.
they'll have an
Yes.
excuse.
Right
Bro
away,
is worried about school at the police station. There's no...
you'll come to notice that George is oblivious to the gravity of his situation, and it would be very safe to assume that he at this moment is unaware that Yeardley has died. He seems to believe that he's in as much trouble as he would be sitting in a principal's office, perhaps for getting in a fight at class or on the lacrosse field, and the sooner he provides a sanitized version of the truth, the sooner he'll get to go home. This, of course, ties in perfectly with the interrogator's opening strategy, which we've labeled warmth for the sake of this video. She will downplay the severity of his situation to a considerable degree, while maintaining a friendly temperament with a sympathetic undertone. She needs the suspect to feel safe and secure for the time being, as the less cautious he is, the more information he's likely to give away. Then as soon as he locks himself into one particular storyline, the pressure can commence, which often leads to a suspect being laden with panic and contradictions.
Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before questioning and have one present during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you. And if you're willing to talk to us now, you have the right to stop talking anytime.
George has two options here. Option 1 is to remain silent, then allow his father to get him the most expensive attorneys in the country.
Exactly.
He would then have years to examine the evidence, evaluate the many options available, and then construct the most self-preserving storyline with world-renowned experts in criminal defense before they present it to a jury. Unfortunately for George, he takes option 2.
This fucking idiot! This guy comes from some of the richest people. Oh my gosh. And he's gonna talk.
Before he does, rewatch the flawlessly reassuring manner in which he's given the final piece of the Miranda warning.
And if you're willing to talk to us now, you have the right to stop talking anytime. Got it?
Yup.
Awesome.
Dude.
Just need your signature there, that you understand your rights and are willing to talk to us. And the time now is 7:53. All right. Let's kind of start. I'm going to kind of ask you some questions.
How would you not get... Dude, actually through.
We'll explain things a little bit later.
Yeah,
Tell me about
easy
your day
mode.
yesterday.
Played golf with our parents. It was a father-son. Good event. I went to dinner with my dad and my two buddies, and then went home, went to the bar for like a little while.
What'd you do?
Then I went over to talk to Yeardley.
Oh my... You're throwing! Oh my gosh! What are you doing? And then he says that he went to her house.
And
Who's Yeardley?
Yeardley is my former girlfriend,
Okay.
which this whole thing's about, which I understand, but
George has now initiated...
He just said what's the whole thing is about. He know... Oh my gosh. What are you doing?
the investigative
His parents are fuming right now.
subject matter himself. It's the perfect opening scenario for the interrogator because she's given nothing away, making it more likely for him to reveal details that will contradict the evidence.
when I went over to talk to Yeardley, I was like, Yeardley, and she was like already totally freaked out because of what she did this past a few days ago, and we haven't talked since, and I was just gonna go talk to her.
Yardley slept with another lacrosse player from North Carolina
Okay, but I thought they cheated on each other, so...
the week before, which is what he just referred to.
And she was already like, oh, like freaking out. Like, you know, you can't come in, you can't come in. And I was like, I'm like just trying to talk to you.
The investigation team obviously had no way of knowing this, and George has now confessed to the crime of second-degree trespass. More important...
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! He already got a crime under his belt! Holy
Importantly,
shit,
however,
so
he's just confessed to initiating the supposed confrontation. He now can't say that he was somehow tricked or misled into that situation.
Damn.
He knowingly stepped into it, and the critical fact he can actually recognize and remember this will be used against him repeatedly in the future.
And
fucking idiot.
Like
I know, like, obviously he killed her, so it's like, I don't want to, like, I don't have any sympathy for him, right? But, like, it's funny to see how bad he's throwing.
Like, getting, like, all, like, you know, like, really, like, defensive. She was already, like, on the defensive edge. And, like, I was like, listen, I'm not here to, like, I'm just here to talk to you.
Yeah, oh shit.
And she, like, got all, like, sat up, like, her bed's against the wall. Like, if it was in this corner, she was, like, up against the wall. And I was like, we were sitting there talking.
Sitting?
And,
She's
like,
up against the wall?
she started being, like, you know, like, getting, like, all, like, aggressive after this. And so I was like, all right, like, chill out, like, and shook her a little bit.
Oh,
So
you idiot! Oh my gosh, dude. I need to move my webcam. Let me move my webcam because all the subtitles are on the other side. You're actually throwing, dude. What the fuck am I watching? What am I watching? Here. There, that's better. Alright, let's go back. Let's go back.
Like, you know, like, getting, like, all, like, aggressive after this. And so I was like, all right, like, chill out, like, and shook her a little bit.
So
I can't believe that. You're, like, he confessed to, like, putting her hands on her.
just to recount what George said over the last 47 seconds, Yeardley was defensive. While being in a defensive state, she backed up against the wall.
Yeah.
She then became aggressive. George's response to this supposed aggression was to initiate physical contact.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she started being, like, freaking out. And I was like, listen, I'm not, like, here to do anything. I'm here to talk to you about everything that's ensued in the past week. And
46
and she was
seconds.
like, and like, sort of like, being like, no, like hitting her head, like stop, like she was in the corner, I was sitting on the bed, I was like, stop, like, I was like, Yeardley, like, what the hell, like, we were just gonna talk.
So let's go back half a minute and dissect what actually just happened there.
Oh, I don't even hear
And
this.
so I was like,
Embarrassing.
all right, like, chill out, like, and shook her a little bit.
He will now say the words, and she started being like, then simultaneously mimic a body colliding with the wall. He will then stop himself mid-thought and subtly modify the detail.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen.
Oh, wait,
She
so
started
he's the
being,
one that
like,
pushed her against the wall.
freaking out.
He goes from illustrating Yeardley hitting the wall to, as he states, freaking out.
And
He seems to realize mid-sentence this isn't the best way to explain her injuries, so he changes the detail to buy himself time.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen, I'm not like here to do anything, I'm here to talk to you.
He carefully shifts the topic from Yeardley to himself, and keeps it there for 8 seconds before attempting to re-explain what occurred in a more self-preserving manner.
And she was like, and like sort of like being like, no, like hitting her head, like.
No jury on the planet will believe that Yeardley was voluntarily slamming her head against the wall
Fucking idiot.
with enough force to cause fatal brain damage.
Oh,
All George has done here is give away the fact that he knows Yeardley has sustained some type of head injury, and now lied on record about how it was inflicted.
I was like, Yeardley, like,
Dude.
what the hell, like, we were just gonna talk, and like, it was not at all like a good conversation, because that's like, she was already like freaking out with just even seeing me there.
Okay. So what happened next?
What happened next, and she just kept hitting her head against the wall while she was sitting on the bed, and I was like, and I grabbed her and I like shook her, I was like, stop, like, we need to, like, and looked at her, I was like, we need to like talk about this. And like, I mean, I was on holding her arms and stuff, but like, I never struck her, I never like hit her like in the face or anything. I was just like, we need to talk. And she was so like, oh, I mean, what's the word? Like, you know, like floppy, a fish out of the water, like so, like.
He probably knocked her out.
This. And I was like, listen, like, I'm not here to like fight with you or like do anything. Like, here to talk to you, and like, and she's like, no, like, get away from me. You have to leave. You have to leave. You have to leave. You have to leave. Like all this stuff. And I was like,
you just exposed yourself
like,
again.
fine, like, but like, I want to talk to you after all this, and like, I was like a little bit persistent because of the situation. You know, my former girlfriend who, like, something happened last week, you know, and I was like, all right, like, well, so we were like talking over there, and
he's actually
I mean, somehow we ended up, somehow I was resting her on the floor, and I was just like, stop.
What the fuck? Oh my gosh, dude, what?
I just like,
oh,
and I was holding her.
I was holding her. I was a little bit persistent. I was wrestling her on the floor. All further evidence that designates George as the aggressor. He's completely shut down his ability to argue any sort of self-defense claim.
And then the conversation, I could tell, was just like, it was not going anywhere, and nothing was happening, and
oh my gosh.
She like went back to bed, and I left, and I went back home.
Okay.
Phase 1 is now complete. The suspect has unknowingly locked himself into a storyline that will put him away for a very long time. The risk of him shutting down or requesting a lawyer is no longer a primary concern. So the interrogator will now increase the pressure. She will confront him on certain elements that she pretended to overlook before, and the ideal scenario is to cause just enough panic so that he backpedals on previous statements and contradicts himself.
Alright, so you go over there, knock on the door.
Her front door was open. Her room door was closed. I knocked, like Yeardley, like, she heard me open the door and went in.
Alright, went in where?
To her room.
Alright, straight to her bedroom?
Straight to her bedroom, yeah, I mean.
How'd you get through the door?
Her door or the front door?
Her door.
This guy's faded, bro.
Actually, it might have been locked.
It was.
So how'd you get in?
Yeah.
Did he break in?
Yeah.
Just be honest with me.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was locked, yeah. Because I think I put a hole.
Yeah, you punched a hole through the door.
What are you doing? This guy's fucking an idiot. Like, what? How? Oh my.
Pretty sure, actually, now.
Now they got you for trespassing, for breaking and entering.
Why'd you do that?
Well, I guess, yeah, once I was in her room, she was like very like, you know, like, or like, no, I'm not, like, I don't want to talk to you, like, all this stuff. And she was very like, you know, very on edge, like, I don't want to talk, like, I don't want to talk, like, you know. Okay. I was like, listen, like, what you pulled last week was outrageous. Like, I just want to talk to you.
Why'd you punch the door then?
A very unusual time to interrupt a suspect in such a contentious manner. He was giving away self-incriminating information that could be used to establish a motive. He was doing exactly what the lead investigator wanted. But Detective Ed has now stopped him in his tracks. It's a reckless maneuver at this point in the interrogation, which Detective Reeves is no doubt conveying at this moment through nonverbal communication. She now has to let the suspect respond as to not undermine their position.
Because I want to talk to her.
Okay, Ed's
Detective Reeves will now bring his guard back down through a reassuring tone and gently guide his train of thought back to his grievances with the victim. She pulls this off in 3 questions.
All right, well, continue on. That's fine. Continue on. So you're talking to her and she doesn't want to talk to you?
Not really. I mean, we talked though. Like, there was parts where we were talking, and then
there's
like,
parts where I was fucking
you know what
shooting
you're
her
talking
head.
about?
I mean, about so many different things.
Okay. Like what?
There you go, boom. Back to it.
Like what she did last week.
Which was?
Like, went to like Carolina. She went to Carolina and
there you go. He got
Sunday when we were still trying to figure out things. And I was over there like to talk. Like, I was like, this is outrageous, because I was trying to make everything better, and then, like, you know, she was very defensive because she knew, like, how upset I was, because I've told her, like, through emails, like, how upset I was, like, about what she did.
He just gave him a place to look for evidence. Oh my gosh.
And so I was like, and I sat on the edge of it, I was like, listen, like, want to talk to you, like what you did was bullshit, like that's not like okay. And I was just like and she's like not like you know, she's like you know, sort of pushing everything that she did to the back burner and like talking about like you know, like trying to like put everything that she did like wasn't important. It kept going to the point
cannot
where
make a sentence.
Like I was like, listen, like you're like we have to figure like out what's going on.
This is only 18 minutes in, bro.
And
We
she
could be
was like,
arrested.
I'm not talking to you. And then she
know,
like
bro.
pushed me, like get out of here, like
There's
go.
people that like
and I was like no, and like
try their
like,
hardest in life and might never
like,
make it.
We
because
have
of,
to
like,
talk, like
where they've came from.
like get
This
like,
guy
When
explains
you're doing
everything.
that, what are you holding on her?
on her arms,
On her arms, like maybe up here?
like shoulders, yeah,
Shoulders.
like.
That's a
Like,
fucking
come
idiot.
on, like, you know, and that's when she was like wiggle and like get away and like, you know, like hide in get in the corner, like really like
Yeah, running away from you.
like defensively almost. And then she ended. I think she was back in bed, and I left. I was like, this is the.
Yeah, she's
not
back in bed
going
because you
anywhere.
killed her,
How'd she get
motherfucker.
back in bed?
Uh-oh.
We were like wrestling, and
What? Oh, dude, you're...
and
You can't say you're
we
wrestling.
stood up, and I tossed her. I pushed her onto the bed. I was like, go to bed. Like, I'll talk to you later.
Did you touch
This guy cannot... He's making the worst excuses. Oh, my God.
her neck area at all? Did you choke her at one point?
Don't say yes.
I may have grabbed her a little bit by the neck when we were.
Dude, what are we doing?
But I never like strangled her.
Okay.
But I mean, during the whole like commotion, you know, like
Just shit happens.
I might have grabbed her neck, but I never was like strangling her.
Okay.
More detail that was unknown to the investigation. The fact that he grabbed her neck can now be used as evidence. It paints a more frightening picture of the incident with relation to the suspect's aggression toward the victim.
Yeah, for
This was an
real.
extremely damaging revelation for George's defense. The discussion moves to the moment he left, and George admits that he took Yardley's laptop.
Why'd you grab her laptop?
So now they got you on stealing. They got you on thievery,
I
or whatever
was
the word is.
so pissed that she wouldn't talk to me. I was like, I don't know. I like took it almost as like collateral, I guess. I don't know. It's not reasonable logic, but
Nothing that you've been saying is reasonable.
I don't know.
Did you take anything else besides your laptop?
No.
Nothing?
No.
He's honest about that. Oh wait, let's have notes.
So when you left out of there, I mean, you saw that she was bleeding on her nose.
She's now about to ask a question with the same implication for a second time. Notice what occurred the first time.
Did you go back and check on her at any point?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you try to call rescue or anything to make sure she's all right?
No, I did not.
No. Why?
The face of bewilderment, if there ever was one. It's very strange that he's so taken aback by such a question, especially when you take into account the possible outcome if he had actually called for help.
Yeah,
One
she
medical
would've been
expert revealed in the courtroom for the very first time that following Yeardley Love's brutal beating, had George Hughley or anyone else called for help, she might have survived.
Yeah, she would have made it.
I didn't.
Dude, I'm getting
think it
chills.
was,
Holy
like,
shit, this guy.
I didn't think that she was like in need of like going to the emergency room. She just got. I mean, a blood.
What do you think that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't.
Didn't you say when you were, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you were shaking her, her head was hitting the wall?
Well, that was in the beginning. That was initially when I walked in. Like she was like up in the corner, like saying, "Get out of here!" Like like this.
Mm-hmm. At any time when you were shaking her, did her head bang the wall?
Don't say yes.
Put yourself in George's position and imagine Yeardley had in fact self-inflicted her injuries. You would perhaps say something along the lines of, absolutely not.
I wasn't hitting her against the wall, but like when she's like sitting there in the corner of like if it were like this, and I'm like already like and I was like what the fuck was that about? Like that's such bullshit that you like do that. Like that's such a like bullshit move. Like what like like
what is bro saying?
What are you like doing like that? Like
Okay. She has a pretty good knot on her head. That's why I'm asking how you can explain how that would have
He
happened.
doesn't even know that she's dead.
I mean, I don't even know when that, a knot?
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Like on the side of her head, she's been hit pretty good right there. So I'm just trying to figure out, did you hit her with something?
No.
Was that
no,
her head into the wall?
never touched her or struck her or anything.
Well, you touched her. You had your hands on her.
No, I said never struck her.
Okay.
Okay.
So
this
you
guy's fucking idiot.
I'm gonna go through this one more time, make sure we're on the same page. So you're pretty pissed at her from a week ago for sending you text messages. Do you have those text messages where she said
Don't say yes.
as you put it, fucked somebody?
I actually might have those, yeah.
All right, you got your phone with you?
Yeah.
And let's pull it out and scroll through it. Let's see if we can see those.
The next moment is fascinating because
This
it
fucking
symbolizes how
idiot.
drastically George's life is about to change.
This
The
guy's so
interrogator will
stupid.
invade his personal space to make sure he's not deleting anything from his phone. Soon after that, she will take the phone out of his hand and place it on the table. Actions that would be completely unacceptable in almost any other circumstance.
Uh-oh. Yeah, bro can literally just say no or I need a lawyer.
They were like, I guess what you call like an ongoing conversation, an ongoing like instant message, and it's gone.
Okay. I'll use that one. They don't leave that right here for now. All right. Let's talk about how you
Got him, bro.
entered. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Because to have put your fist through the door.
no,
she
it's
had
actually
to
my
have been
leg. I'm pretty
Your
sure
leg?
because that's why my leg's like this.
Yeah, you're right. That was
kicked
your
him.
leg.
Yeah,
How'd you get all the bruising on your hand then?
this is all from lacrosse.
Okay,
This
that's
is all-
fair.
That's pretty fresh right there. Looks
This is all from my lacrosse game on Saturday.
on
I mean, I
Saturday.
wear my arm, you can see where my arm.
Okay, that's a fair excuse. Maybe he's finally being smart,
Even
but
Even
it's
right there,
probably
I
still
thought you wore
beating her
those
up.
padded gloves.
This is
lacrosse.
all. This is all the difference. This is all from lacrosse.
Okay.
And that's, I got whacked here. I remember 100% got whacked during the game when I was trying to like kill the clock.
Mm-hmm. When you have her and you're shaking her, did she scratch you anywhere?
No.
No.
Good. Don't say no.
No.
She's a little girl. She's tiny.
Yeah, she did not. No, she didn't. She didn't
She didn't try to hit you or anything like that.
No.
Okay. So you kick in the door. Go
Yeah,
in.
that's how I entered. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I just went through and unlocked it and went in there and
Okay.
everything else is told you.
The detectives leave the room for roughly 3 minutes. When they return, it appears Ed is given the chance to lead with a few of his own questions.
I know we touched about what happened last night.
Ed
but
about a
set it up for me.
clutch up.
Lead it up to me a little bit here. Why did you guys break up exactly?
He's gonna
Why?
ask questions about the motive.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, we are not from the same area.
Right.
And she wants me to New York, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing yet, but I'd like to move to San Francisco.
Why'd you take her computer?
I don't know. I have no idea.
There's maybe because there's evidence on the computer, emails that you sent.
No, there's no. I mean, you can read all the emails and everything back and forth.
I mean,
Detective
they're
Ed
going
now
to.
asks George if he held Yeardley down on the bed. He's trying to subtly set the grounds for an argument of smothering, which isn't a terrible idea, but would be disproven by the autopsy regardless.
No.
Did you fall down on top of her? You know,
That is
wrestle in
cooking.
there?
Wrestling on the ground for like a little
Did
bit.
y'all wrestle on the bed at all?
No, I never I shook her.
No, I mean like just kind of hold her down until she calmed down on the bed.
No, if anything that.
I mean,
if anything that would have been like on the floor when we were on the floor when
This
when
guy's
we
so
started
fucking
bleeding,
stupid.
we were, like wrestling around,
This is probably from
and
brain
that's when
damage
we
or
started bleeding.
Was it pretty noisy when y'all were wrestling around?
No, I
Was she
mean,
screaming?
no, she was not screaming. Actually,
If I'm cracking my head in the
Right.
wall, I'm gonna be saying, "Ow!"
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, she was not screaming.
Yeah.
She should have been, probably. I mean, maybe.
What are we doing?
She should have been, probably. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Why do you think she should have?
I don't know.
She should have been screaming. What are you saying? Oh,
I mean, well, she was screaming when I first came into the room. She was like, "No, I'm not talking to you. Get the fuck out of here," all that. But
At any point
that's a hookup
before
culture.
you said you, and this was your words, you said you tossed her on the bed and then you left.
yeah,
All right. At any point before that, did she lose consciousness?
no.
Okay. What happened after you tossed her on the bed? Did she move? Talk about, say something?
I mean, I literally tossed her on the bed and turned around and...
Tossed her on the ground or tossed her on the bed?
And
Tossed her on the
walked
bed.
out the door.
Okay. So when you tossed her back on the bed, in your mind, she was bleeding, but you said she was bleeding out her nose, and you didn't feel like you needed to call rescue?
No.
After that, after banging her head and
No,
shaking her and blood coming out her nose on the floor?
Oh, my tummy grumbling, honey.
No.
Fuck, my bad.
There's nothing about like...
you missed anything that we want to ask him right now?
There's nothing about like going to get anything or going, you know. I don't know why I took the computer.
George rambles about why there was no reason for taking the laptop for another 20 seconds, during which time Detective Reeves decides that enough information has been attained. Phase 2 is now complete, and the fate of Yeardley is about to be revealed. These moments in interrogations are considered important for the purpose of gauging
She gonna tell him that she's dead.
a suspect's response. It's believed that a sharp and sudden revelation can make it difficult to fabricate emotion.
Yep.
So in theory, this will cause a suspect to provide either a genuine response or a relatively obvious disingenuous response, which often comes in the pretense of shock or remorse.
I mean, I guess that's where my logic was at, but which is...
He's gonna stop talking, she's gonna say Yeardley's dead.
I have to tell you
I
something.
think I know why you took the computer.
In the midst of what would have been a flawlessly executed moment,
Are you kidding me, Ed? Ed, okay, you're done cooking. You're done cooking. Turn off the stove, bitch. We almost had it.
Detective Ed jumps back into the laptop mystery. The suspect has essentially confessed to murder. This really wasn't the time for regurgitated conjecture over a petty theft
Ed
misdemeanor,
is throwing.
which Ed was clearly being advised of once again through nonverbal communication.
Why do you think?
You all right?
Go ahead.
No?
Yeah.
She's dead.
Oh.
You
Okay.
killed her, George.
Oh.
You killed her.
Oh. Fuck. Okay, it still works.
Dead?
I think you knew that already.
No, I did not.
In our opinion, George is being truthful here, and we believe the interrogator feels the same way in this moment.
I concur. Uh-oh.
She's dead?
We got him. We
How
fucking
the
got
fuck
him.
is she dead?
Because you killed her, George.
How the fuck is she dead?
Because you killed her.
George appears to be going through a delayed response. It's so foreign a revelation that it's yet to sink in. Once the shock settles, he refuses to accept it, and this denial appears to be a momentary coping mechanism before the reality of the situation truly hits him, which will happen at this time in the footage.
Damn. I like this editing.
Oh my god.
Officer
She's
Ed,
dead.
or Detective
Yes.
Ed's
She's dead.
Yes.
She's dead.
She's dead.
How? How?
I already told you how. You already told us how as well.
How is she
You
dead?
just told us.
Oh my
in
god.
prison right now?
You went in there to talk with her, but it got out of control, right, George?
The detectives will now add further pressure to keep him talking. Suspects will often divulge information in these moments in a
Ed needs
panicked
to,
attempt to
yeah.
save themselves, and in doing so can shut down a more credible storyline they haven't thought up yet.
The alcohol got a hold of you. You kicked in her door. She started to fight with you. You punched her in the head, or you cracked.
She's not dead.
You cracked
She's
her
not
head.
dead.
You
She's
cracked her
not
head in the
dead.
window or in the wall.
not dead.
She is.
Can you wait? Okay, say if she wasn't dead, can detectives lie and be like, "Oh yeah, she's dead," to get more shit out of them?
I ain't BSing you right now. It's serious.
I want to see her. She's
George,
not
look at
dead.
me.
George.
She is dead.
You were not here to dance with us. You're here because she's dead.
Damn. We fucking got it.
The alcohol.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
It's
it.
true.
Dude, I didn't. I don't believe that she's dead.
How did you?
I don't believe that she's dead.
How
I
is she-
don't believe that she's dead.
Did you punch her? Did you hit her?
How? There's no way she's dead. She's not dead. I didn't. I never did anything. I did not.
All right, let's calm down.
I did not like hurt her. Like she's not dead.
Let him calm down.
Just out of protocol, what we gotta do is stand up for me, George. Go ahead, put your hands behind your back for me. Turn.
We fucking got him.
Relax. It's all right.
Relax. You'll be alright.
We fucking got him.
Tell me she's not dead. Tell me she's not
Yeah,
dead.
I know.
Please.
I feel like they could.
Will you tell me she's not dead?
Relax.
Please. Will you tell me
You
she's
know what?
not
I wish
dead?
I could tell you that, George. 22-year-old. 22. And her life is done.
Oh,
She's not. I did not do anything like that.
that's extra smart.
There's
Handcuffs
no
him.
way. There's no way.
It's protocol, but then that gets him like.
I do not believe it. I did not believe it. No way. There's no way
This
she could be
guy,
dead.
dude.
Either the head trauma or asphyxiation.
There was no asphyxiation.
He knows what asphyxiation is? I'm surprised.
Oh my
It's
god.
fucking
Oh my
dumbass.
god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What was she doing? What was she doing the last time you saw her?
She was like standing up with me. She was standing up with me. She was standing up with me, looking at me.
Was she standing or you were
She
holding
was
her?
standing up, looking at me.
Okay.
She's not dead.
This guy.
I know she's not dead. I know. 100 million %. She's
Oh,
not
this
dead.
poor guy. Actually, no. Why am I saying poor guy? This guy's so stupid.
She cannot be dead.
I know it got out of hand, George.
No, it didn't.
Okay, you're banging her head against the wall, bitch.
It didn't. And she's like, no, like, get away from me. You have to leave, you have to leave. I was like a little bit persistent. I
Was she
mean,
screaming?
she should have been. I didn't kill her and leave. I didn't just.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
We fucking got
God. I didn't kill her. I did not kill her. I did not kill her. I did not. There's no way I didn't do it. No way. No way. I want a lawyer. I don't believe this.
Now you want a lawyer? Are you?
I don't believe this. What? No, there's no way.
No way.
There's no way. There's no fucking way.
There's no fucking way, bro.
So
Sorry.
should I talk to someone?
Who do you want to talk to?
Anyone. A lawyer.
One will get appointed to you.
Okay, what do I do now? Go to jail?
Yeah.
Damn.
All right, George. Right now, I know you no longer want to talk to us. That's fine. I'm just letting you know something. We're working on a search warrant right now, and what it is we're going to have to collect some stuff from you, like what's called a buccal swab. Okay.
We fucking got him. This dumbass.
Why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything.
Boom.
Someone came in this
I
morning.
never mentioned to you anything. Just told you.
Oh,
to
you're
investigate
throwing.
So,
something. Do you want me to call anybody for you, George?
We fucking got him.
At the start of this video, you were asked to think of what you would do in this situation. Really try and imagine what would be going through your mind in this moment, as you might just gain a restorative outlook from both knowing the answer while not having to answer this particular question. But there is of course no possible way you will gain anything close to the newfound perspective George has acquired in this moment, which unfortunately for him is no longer of use.
Want me to call your dad?
we call it Mom.
Your mom? Is that who you'd like me to call?
Can I talk to her?
Mm-hmm.
Can I talk to her?
I don't know about that.
Damn.
What's your mom's name?
I would not fold like this.
What's her number?
301-96.
Okay.
How?
Did you want me to call your dad? Or just her?
She'll tell her.
Mm-hmm.
She can tell her everything.
Okay.
How?
This guy. This guy.
I don't believe it. There's no way she's gonna be dead. There's no way.
I'm sorry, but what are you doing, bro?
There's no way.
Bro is throwing a tantrum. Yes, you killed her, bro. It is what it is. You can't keep fucking coping. Like, holy shit. Uh-oh. Okay, so we're all... Wait. 2 seconds.
Yep.
These next few moments are a turning point. The leg irons seem to initiate a shift in his constitution, and his denial will completely cease from this point forward. He will continue to ask why and how, but he will no longer reject the severity of what is happening.
Damn.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you beat the fuck out of her, bro. Like, that's the how. That's your why.
Huh.
Heck of a day, bud.
That is a lawyer? Fellas, how are you this morning? Howdy, y'all.
I ain't here the rest of my life.
I'm sorry?
So I ain't here the rest of my life.
In this room?
No, in jail.
I don't know.
Bro needs Saul. He needs Saul Goodman at this point.
Oh,
Holy
thank
shit.
God, man.
I don't even know if Saul can help him.
Call my mom.
I'm sorry?
Call my mom.
Where's bro's flip-flops? The grippers are going crazy right now. Holy shit.
Now's when you need your family the most, but you know.
Oh my gosh. True that, man. Dude, what is bro doing, man? What is bro saying?
Didn't even.
George was taken to the regional jail soon
They
after this
gotcha.
moment. He would go on to plead not guilty to murder and was held without bond for almost 2 years awaiting trial. It began on February 6, 2012.
Well, testimony is now underway in the murder trial of the former UVA
You literally
lacrosse
just
player
said, "I killed her,
accused
bro."
of killing his ex-girlfriend.
For the first time, we have video of Yeardley as he was led into the courtroom.
Contrary to his appearance in the days that followed his arrest for the murder of 22-year-old Yeardley Love,
is that?
he appeared pale, frail, and gaunt.
The prosecution presented a case that Yeardley went to Love's apartment that night, busted through her bedroom door, and in some way struck her, causing blunt force trauma which led to her death.
We've also learned that on that night, George Yeardley was exchanging what were described as playful text messages with 3 other women. Those messages continued late into the night and even after the alleged attack.
You told me he beat up some girl and started hitting Riz to 3 girls. That's why he beat her up, because she cheated on him and then he's cheating on her. Oh, the hypocrisy. What the fuck is this shit, man?
This trial, Yeardley has sat expressionless, almost stoic at the defense table. All of that changed today as this police interview was airing. Yeardley began crying, was often pinching the bridge of his nose with his hands and looking down as he listened to the sound of his own hysterical voice. I did not kill her. I did not kill her. I did not. I did not.
In court Tuesday, Yeardley's defense faced an uphill climb.
The most riveting testimony came from former UNC lacrosse player Michael Burns, who testified that one time while visiting UVA, he heard some yelling for help from Yeardley's apartment. When he opened the door, he said he found Yeardley with his arm wrapped around Love's neck, choking her. Yeardley then let her go, and she ran out of the room crying.
A variety of medical experts took the stand this Wednesday, and they all seemed to agree that Love's death was the result of blunt force trauma to the head. This was followed by highly distressing witness testimony from Yeardley's neighbors.
The noise was so loud, this was such a violent death that they heard it downstairs, 2 separate witnesses, and it sounded like a stereo crashing to the ground.
And it certainly didn't help that the jury knew
See that?
And
X's email reads, "I should have killed you." Oh,
it sounded like a stereo crashing to the ground.
And it certainly didn't help that the jury knew that she was alive for 2 hours before she died, indicating that if George Yeardley had come to his senses, he could have gone back there, called 911, and possibly saved her life.
Still, the driving argument for the defense is that George Yeardley never intended to kill. They say this was all a tragic accident, that he does not deserve.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're saying, because that's all they got, bro. Because he admitted to everything in the interview. That's all they have.
But instead a lesser charge and a second chance.
Guilty of second-degree murder, and you will hear the sentence momentarily.
A 26-year prison term came down.
George Yeardley was brought to court to hear his lawyers plead for the judge to cut in half the 26-year sentence recommended by the jury. Judge Edward Hogshire did trim it back, but by just 3 years.
The jury in this case recommended 26 years. The judge changed it to 23. Probably a small difference, but why would he do that?
It's surprising, isn't it, considering this is a woman who was beaten to death in her own bed.
We think that George was convicted of a crime inconsistent with the facts, and he received a penalty inconsistent with what the evidence would require.
There are no winners in this case.
With credit for the time that George Yeardley has already served in jail, and if he gets time off for good behavior, he could be out in 18 years. And the family for Yeardley Love has put out this statement saying, "We find no joy in other sorrow. We are relieved to put this chapter behind us."
Damn.
As for George, he was incarcerated at the maximum security Augusta Correctional Center for 10 years, and has since been transferred to a prison work camp in Richmond, where he's expected to serve out the rest of his sentence. The present consensus in the media is that George had no intention of killing Yeardley, but that his 23-year sentence is still appropriate, if not lenient, and that him being drunk to any degree at the time of the murder is not an excuse, nor does it lessen the culpability of his actions to any extent. He'll be released at the age of 45, meaning he will have the second chance at life Yeardley was never afforded. You can decide for yourself whether he deserves it or not.
Damn, that was a really good video.
A comforting prospect to this tragedy is the nonprofit organization that arose from it. The One Love Foundation carries extremely important messages, both on social psychology and preventative education. Their website will be linked in the description of this video.
Wow, that was a really good video. What a fucking dumbass. I don't think he meant to kill her, but obviously he killed her. So
Did you say you did one?
Wow. That's crazy. Bro was an idiot. Actual idiot. That was a good video, though.